Hello everybody, this is Cheeseburger Jesus, and welcome to Katawa Shoujo GRID1. Now, this is before pre-alpha. Now, I'm pretty sure, I'm not sure how much has changed, but obviously the art has changed rather a lot, to be honest. A light breeze causes the branches overhead to rattle together like an untuned xylophone. In the summer, this is a popular retreat for couples, the deciduous trees providing a beautiful green canopy far out of sight from teachers and fellow students. But now, in late winter, it feels like I'm standing under a pile of kindling. I breathe into my clenched hands and rub them together furiously to prevent them from going to sleep in this cold. Just how long am I expected to wait out here anyway? I'm sure the note said 4 p.m. Ah yes, the note. Slipped into my notes whilst I wasn't looking by parties unknown. Personally, I'm more of a fan of the letter in the locker, but at least this way shows a bit of initiative. As I ponder the meaning of the note, I hear someone approach me from behind. Isokun? You came? That's a big difference. Instead of just saying his name, they actually have to add the suffix there. At the sound of that dainty voice, I feel my heart skip a beat. It's a voice I've listened to hundreds of times, but never as much more than an outsider to a conversation. I turn to face this world, this voice of my dreams, and my heart begins to race. Awanako? I got the note to wait here. Was that yours? Dang it. Spent all afternoon trying to come up with the cool lines. This is the result. Pathetic. Ah, yes. I asked a friend to give that note to you. I'm so glad it did. Thump, thump. My heart is now pounding as if it were trying to burst out from my chest and claim this girl all for itself. So, here we are, out in this cold. Once again, the wind stirs up the branches. The once cacophonous noise, now the sweetest music in my ears, the music of dreams about to come true. Awanako flinches ever so softly against the gust of wind. As it passes, she rights herself as if implanted by some new confidence. Her eyes lock with mine, and she lazily twirls her long, dark hair around her fingers. All while the incessant beating of my heart gets louder. My throat is tight. Dab, I could even force out a word if I tried. You see, I wanted to know, thump, thump, if you'd go out with me. I stand there, motionless, save for my pounding heart. I want to say something in reply, but my vocal cords feel like they've been stretched beyond breaking. Is it? I reach up to try to massage my throat, but this only sends spikes of blinding pain along my arms. Is it? Oh god, that was a voice crack and a half. My whole body freezes, save for my eyes, which shoot open in terror. The beating in my chest suddenly stops and I go weak at the knees. The world around me, the canopy of bare branches, the dull winter sky, Awanako running towards me in fear, all these fade to black. The last thing I remember before slipping away is the sound of Awanako screaming for help, and the incessant clatter of the branches above. It's been 4 months since my heart attack. 4 months of lying in a hospital bed, not allowed to leave the room without supervision. 4 months of continuous tests, trying to determine why a high school senior could suddenly keel over in this manner. The answer? Arrhythmia. I have a rare condition that causes my heart to occasionally freak out. As a result of this, I could have another attack without any warning whatsoever. Upon hearing this, my parents flipped their lids. They were prepared to sell their house in order to pay for a cure. Alas, there is none, but medication can lower the risk level, and anyone with basic knowledge of CPR should be able to keep me alive long enough for help to arrive. On the day of my discharge, my doctor called my parents and I into his office and shut the door behind him. Well, we have the dosage of the medication sorted out. Here's your prescription. He handed a slip of paper to my father, who stared at the absurdly long names of the drugs that would become my constant companions. I could see his brow furrowing at the sheer volume and dosages required. So many. I'm afraid that's all we can do at this point. However, new medications are always being developed, so I wouldn't be surprised to see that list dwindle over the years. The concept of being eternally ill has yet to sink in, yet the doctor said it like it was the most natural thing in the planet. However, there was one question that burned in my mind, more important than drugs or years or doctors. So, can I go back to school? When I was first admitted, it felt as everyone from my school wanted to visit. For about a week, my room in the ward was full of flowers, balloons, and cards. But slowly, the flood of visitors began to trickle. New events were drawing people's memory away from me. By the end of the first month, I was lucky to see anyone. Awanako, who had witnessed my attack firsthand, was the last to stop visiting. She lasted 6 whole weeks before abandoning me. All I wanted to do was to go back to my friends, triumphant. Such an epic return would surely be an event. Announcements would be made, parties would be held. Heck, I probably wouldn't even have to buy any drinks for a good week or so. Well, about that. This cannot be good. I've spoken with your parents, and we believe that it would be best if you don't return to your old school. Why? My parade, my parties, my almost girlfriend, all lost. Please calm down, Hiska. Listen to what the doctor has to say. A sense of foreboding crawls up my spine. Am I to be homeschooled, trapped in a bed, never seeing the light of day? We all understand that your education is paramount. However, I don't think that it's wise for you to be without supervision. At least not until we're sure that your medication is suitable. Here it comes, a lifetime at home, taught by my mom. So I've spoken to your parents about a transfer. A transfer? So I still get to go to school. Yes, to Yamaku Academy. It's a school that specializes in dealing with disabled students. It has a 24-hour nurse and is only a few minutes from Sendai General Hospital. Sendai? As in Sendai? But that's miles away. I quickly do some math in my head. I'd have to get up at 3:30 just to get there in time. On the Shinkansen. Well, only if you want to. You see, the majority of the students live on the academy grounds. A boarding school? Of sorts. Designed to give students a modicum of independence, while keeping help nearby. Of course, that's only if you want to go. Your mother and I aren't really able to homeschool you. We went out there and had a look a couple weeks back. I think you'd like it. Do I really have a choice? Not if you want to continue your education, which I think you should. People with your condition usually tend to live long lives compared to other heart problems. You'll need a job one day. To be honest, I'm ecstatic to have the chance to actually go back to a school. Sure, it's not my old school, but the last few months have shown me exactly how much the people there care for me. I wonder if anyone will even realize I've moved. Although the thought of going to a special school is a bit worrying. My father seems to read my thoughts. It's not what you think. All the students there are pretty active in their own sort of way. It's geared towards students who can still get around and learn, but just need a little help, in one way or another. Your father's right, and many of the graduates of the school have gone on to do amazing things. One of my colleagues from another hospital is graduate. I guess the decision has already been made. No use fighting a battle you can't win. So when do I start? And that was how I found myself here, in the principal's office at Yamaku Academy. Now, sorry if you can tell the difference between voice. I had to record it on different days because of time of recording. But anyways, my parents escorted me from the car park to the main building, a giant sandstone structure covered in ornate masonry. The building is laid out in a giant L with a huge clock tower sitting at the apex. The principal's office is on the 3rd floor of this main building, almost directly underneath the clock tower. Behind the huge oak desk, there is a wide window giving a spectacular view of the town that lies a short distance from the school's walled perimeter. Quite honestly, the view is breathtaking, and I find it hard to concentrate on the principal's spiel about the school and its history. She doesn't seem to notice my lack of attention and continues rattling off information. So, after the war, the damaged buildings were reconstructed. The main building, the Great Hall, and a couple of the dorms are all that remain of the pre-war guild. Guild? What's she talking about? Oh, that's right. This place used to be a training center for the blind or something. In 1980, we started accepting students with varying disabilities, which pretty much brings us up to the current state of affairs. I've been told you already know about our medical facilities and the living arrangements, is that right? Yes, ma'am. My parents filled me in on the details, and now they're now taking my stuff up to my room. Oh, good. I guess that means that we can take you straight to class then. The principal shuffles some important papers on her desk, apparently looking for something of great importance. Ah, here we go. You've been assigned to class 3-3. Your homeroom teacher will be Mutu-sensei. Without warning, the principal snatches up a stack of paperwork and stands up. Let's go introduce you to him. She walks past me briskly and into the hallway. I almost fall out of my chair trying to catch up. We rapidly walk down the hallway, passing a number of empty rooms and finally arriving at one marked 3-3. Whilst the principal taps gently on the door, I take a second to look out at the grounds through the hallway windows. The school grounds seem to cover a fairly small area, however not an inch is wasted. There are buildings of various vintages, gardens, and paths, all of which have the same air of classical beauty about them. Before I can study the scene in depth, the door slides open and a tall man with unkempt hair thrusts his head into the hallway. Who the... Oh, principal. Is this the new guy? Guess he's not so good with names then. Yes, this is Nakai Hiseo, the transfer student I was telling you about. Ah, right, sorry, Nikki Hisao. Right, come on, man. Nikki... Who? Muto-sensei slides the door fully open, steps aside, ushering me into the classroom. He just shows me into the class and I look around the room. It is pretty spacious with surprisingly high ceilings that look like they're twice my height, and an entire wall taken up by blackboards. The teacher's desk is a towering antique oak slab with a matching chair that looks like a throne. All the students have their own desks, which have a shelf underneath for holding books. They look simple and efficient. Sunlight streams in from large windows set at head height. Yeah, at head height. The teacher introduces me briefly to my classmates. They don't seem very interested in me. The teacher raises an eyebrow, clearly noticing their lack of interest, and then smiles back. Amazing. Don't worry, they'll warm up. They'll probably warm up to you in a while. We're going to be doing some group work today anyway. That'll give you a chance to talk a little. Is that okay with you? Yeah, it's fine with me. That's good. You can work with Hakamichi. She's the class representative. I'm just gonna stop with the suffixes, 'cause no thank you. She can explain anything you might want to know. The teacher passes out the day's assignment and announces that we will be working in groups of 3. Frankly, I'm a little nervous. I forgot to ask who Hakamichi even is, so I guess I should ask now. Alright, Hakamichi is right there. Hakamichi Shizune. As he calls out her name, a cute, bubbly-looking girl with pink hair and green eyes waves her hand at me. Now this is what I was talking about when it was very different. This is back before they even have the artists. This is a entirely different art style, which is kind of unique. I take a seat next to her. She looks like a nice person. Hey, I guess you're Hakamichi, right? It's nice to meet you. It's got music! Hey! Do do do, I could jam out to this all day. The snapping probably sounds horrible, but I'm turning the music down 'cause I can't concentrate. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. It's nice to meet you too, but I'm not Hakamichi, I'm Misha. This is Hakamichi. Hakamichi. She giggles cheerily and points to the girl next to her. Hakamichi waves at me nonchalantly. She has short black hair falling on her neck, rectangular-shaped glasses balanced at the tip of a dainty nose, and blue eyes that seem to simultaneously analytical and slightly bored. She gives a small nod. It's nice to meet you, Hakamichi. She looks at Misha, who, smiling, makes a few quick gestures with her hands. Hakamichi nods, then makes a few signs of her own. I can see that you're a little confused, right? Right? I understand why you thought I was her, though. What? Shizune is deaf, so I'm the person who translates things back and forth for her. You could say I'm like an interpreter. She says it's nice to meet you too. Suddenly it all makes sense. I feel a lot more at ease. Misha and Hakamichi seem pretty friendly. So you're the new student? Hichan? Somehow you look just like I imagined. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? Good, of course. Hakamichi taps her fingers on the desk and Misha turns to her expectantly. They gesture back and forth again. Hakamichi's hands are almost like a blur. She looks really excited. Misha seems a little overwhelmed. Sorry about that. Shizune wants you to know that she's the class rep, so if there's anything you would like to know, you can ask her. Shizune is a part of the student council, so it's like her job, you know? Might sound stupid, but I'm not really familiar with what student councils usually do. Misha turns to Hakamichi and makes a few signs, ending in a shrug that makes me feel very embarrassed. The class rep seems like one of those people who tends to be all business. I probably look like an idiot now. Misha smiles, but that shrug couldn't have hurt more if she had hit me in the face. This is so awkward. I feel like just slumping over at my desk, but it seems like the class rep isn't miffed at all. She starts sounding again to Misha. Geez, you look pretty down. Shizune said that the council just does things like coordinate events, try to help make new students feel welcome, that kind of thing. You're a new student, so I don't know why you look like you just failed a test or something. Asking is normal. Shizune wants to know if you'd like to work with us on the student council. It'll be a good way to learn about the school, and it doesn't require a lot of physical activity. To be honest, that's why we both signed up for it. Right, Shizune? She makes a few quick signs, grinning widely. We're not professionals or anything, so how about it? Would you like to give it a shot? Yeah, sure, sounds great. Thanks, Hakamichi. And me too, right? Of course. Misha excitedly signs to Hakamichi, looking very pleased. I catch a brief smile on the class rep's face, and then she looks in my direction with a nod so small it's almost unnoticeable before signing a reply to Misha. Okay. Shizune wants you to know that it might not be all fun and games though, okay? And you don't have to keep calling her Hakamichi or class rep or anything like that. We'll all be in the same boat, so you can call her Shizune too. Or, okay, now they actually bring in the name. I'm like, I'm not doing I'm not doing the suffix, I'm sorry guys. Or maybe Shizune sounds more appropriate. Yeah, you can call her Shizune if you want. Is that fine with you? It's a lot easier for me. Oh, right, we haven't even touched the assignment. I guess we should start work, or Shizune will be mad. Right. Sorry, boss. Oh. I remember this from the base game, but it was spelled differently. Oh, Hichan. Shizune says I forgot to tell you where the student council room is. Sorry, I do that sometimes. It's on the first floor of the main building, and we're there almost every day after school. It's a big room, and all you have to do is walk to the end of the hall when you step in the door, and it's right there. Okay, thanks. We barely finished the assignment on time, but Shizune and Misha are really capable. They're quite different. The class rep is as calm and professional as she looks. Misha is really more girlish. They do most of the work, and I feel a little guilty, but it is my first day anyway. The clock tower bells peal out the tune for lunch, and instantly order becomes chaos as the students erupt into the hallway, each vying for their food. Doesn't matter where you go, it's that way, trust me. Everyone flies towards the door as if their heels were on fire, surging forward like a tidal wave of flailing arms and windmilling legs. Thank God the people who have wheelchairs are acting a bit more maturely, or this could get ugly. I have to hold back a laugh seeing 5 people trying to cram through a door at the same time, and a brief melee ensues. Now then, where should I head for the grub? Let's see here. Let's see, what would I actually pick in real life? Now, go outside to the grounds. I mean, if that was plausible. Climb up to the roof. No. The roof of my high school is a dome. No, thank you. Just sit on top of the dome, it'll be fine. I eat lunch at the cafeteria is what I normally do, but that's kind of boring. You know what, I'll try to find, I'll find some quiet place, because that's, occasionally I'll go to the library, it's nice. I wait a little for the crowd to die down, and then venture into the corridor, now almost completely empty. I glance out to the window, and I see why. Seems that the majority of the students are headed for the Great Hall, where I'm told the cafeteria is housed. Students are flooding from the doors below me to the hall. The hall itself squats on the school grounds like a dragon, clearly king of the hill, yet far too large and lazy to defend that title. Once it was the guild hall for the town, a place of trade and diplomacy. Hence, it was decorated highly for a building of its vintage. Its roof maroon, yeah, that's the word. Maroon tiled, 2-layered Japanese style, testament to the architect's impeccable style. Good thing I brought a packed lunch today. I look down the corridor. First up are the third-year classrooms, and a little further along are some unmarked rooms. Looks like a nice quiet place. I bet I won't be disturbed in there. I wander down the corridor and slide open the door. It's a classroom, but it looks like it hasn't been used for a while. Desks and chairs are all around the room, a thin layer of dust settled on them. The room is almost dark because the heavy curtains are half drawn in front of the windows. Specks of dust are dancing in the stagnant air, making the beams of light almost visible. Jokingly, I call into the empty room. Anybody stop mid-sentence. Yeah, I like it. I can jam with it. Sitting on a table is a short-haired girl, curiously wearing a boy's uniform, with a fork between her toes, a morsel of food stuck firmly on the end. I didn't see her at first glance because the deep shadows make the girl look like a shadow herself. She's staring at me, her mouth wide open, ready to accept the fork. I'm staring at her, my mouth wide open, suddenly forgetting I was saying something. Home? Can I help you? The girl has put down the fork, and it is only now that I realize that the sleeves of her shirt are hanging limply at her sides. Well, I was just looking for a quiet place to eat some lunch. I didn't think that this room was taken. It isn't. That's why I come here. Doesn't that make it taken? She raises her eyebrows as if she's doubting my remark. Very observant. I guess it does. So who are you? You see, now, like, I have a feeling that this wasn't composed by them because of how old it is. Like, I don't know. I wasn't in visual novels at the time when it was first being developed. But I mean, hey, I can jam. I kinda like it, and I've already gotten to Rin. This girl is pretty straightforward, isn't she? Right. The name is Nikai Hiseo. I just transferred in today. Tezuka Rin, I won't shake hands with you, but at least we know who we are now. I tilt my head, trying to work out what she's getting at. Slowly, the gears in my head turn a revolution, and I realize what she means. You've got no arms! You're the first person that said that to me today. I would hope so. That makes you the most observant person I've met today. I'll give you 5 points for that. I think I should also award you 2 points for before, so your total is, for now, is 7. What's she talking about? Well, I'm trying to figure this odd girl out. She seems to have lost interest in me and is now gazing yearningly back at her food. Can I continue my lunch? If you don't mind me, I won't mind you. If you want to stay, that is, to eat. Go right ahead. I'm here now, so I may as well run with it. I sit at the nearest desk, and Ren once again picks up the fork between the toes. Dang it, I open my lunchbox and start to eat. Ren interrogates me between mouthfuls. So, Nakai, what brings you to this place? Like I said, I wanted to eat somewhere peaceful. No, the school. We were all broken somehow, you know? From outside, you look fine, so is your problem inside? Yes, I can guess. I'm good at guessing. Better than most people. She puts her fork between her lips and leans back, looking at the ceiling as if the answer was written there. A beam of light illuminates her face from the window side, creating a mask of dark shadow on the other side. I don't think it's anything in your head, and something in your guts would be boringly ordinary, like this lunch of mine. That problem must be in your pants. I don't know why, but it's got a lot more humor to it for me than the original version. Just probably the art and the music to go along with it. I don't know. This statement catches me completely off guard and I nearly choke on some rice. Rin's eyes widen in revelation and astonishment. So I was right. There's something wrong with your tackle, isn't there? The need to defend my honor outweighs the need to cough up the rice in my throat, and so between coughs I bark a comeback. It's a big call from someone cross-dressing at school. They told me that doing things in a skirt would cause, quote, unnecessary distress to other people. Not that I totally agree, but this is more practical. I guess she has me there. With a mighty hack, I cough up the rice from my windpipe. That's better. My folks thought it would be best if I transferred here. The girl purses her lips together and glowers at me, looking very disappointed. How boring. Trouble in the pants would have been much more scandalous. I'm sorry to let you down. With little left to say, the conversation dies away. We both busy ourselves with the business of eating, trying to avoid direct eye contact. However, I study her from the corner of my eye. Her hair is a burnt auburn, almost orange and cropped short. Long hair would probably be impossible with no arms. The boy's uniform and the lack of arms makes her look very thin and accentuate her bust, making her figure surprisingly appealing. Her murky green eyes don't seem to reflect sunlight at all, but instead absorb all of it within them like deep wells. She moves her feet almost as deftly as a normal person would use their arms. However, I can see how this sight could discomfort people, especially whilst eating. After enough time passes for the silence to grow too uncomfortable, I try to force some conversation out of the strange girl. So do you always eat alone, or do you get the occasional visitor? You are my first occasional visitor, but I don't always eat alone either. Sometimes I eat with my friend on the roof, if she's not tear-arsing around. Tear-arsing? She likes to do sports. She tolerates me because she's also an entity, although she's just legless. Oh. And that's all I can think of. My small skills could use some polishing. Both of us fall silent again as Rin forks the last bits of her meal to her mouth. I look down at my lunchbox and realize that I've emptied it of its contents. Now what? Don't feel obligated to stay. I was going to the dream country anyway. If it's your first day, you should have a look around the grounds. Maybe scope out some other places to disturb people whilst they're eating. Things like that. Or do you like to watch girls sleeping? I'm not sure what to make of this, but Rin looks pretty serious. But as I sit there, trying to work out what she means, Rin bursts out laughing. I nervously laugh as well, unsure of what the girl is thinking. Just go. I really need to sleep to make it through the rest of the day, and I just need some dreams for the evening. What? Never mind. Okay, I think I'll take a look around. Thanks for the company. No, thank you. It's been a while since I've had someone to chat to. Not that we really talk that much, but everything counts, I guess. Not at all. I'll catch you around, Tezuka. You can call me Ren. I feel that our relationship is, at this point, good enough to warrant this. Ah, very well. Then I'm Hiseo. See you later, Hiseo. I quietly back out of the room and slide the door shut across the face. Across the face? You know, the face of the door? No. Slide the door shut across my face. I whisper to myself, what an intriguing person. From the other side, I hear a muffled singing voice. I heard that. I gulp in embarrassment and rapidly depart down the hall. This scene is incomplete, still needs a few more Emmy expressions. TCDOHL. Probably one of the developers. This has been a weird day so far, but that girl was cute, and seemed friendly. There's still some time before lunch ends, so I decide to look around the school. So far, all I've seen is the inside of the main building. I barely take 2 steps out of the classroom before I feel something hit me in the chest with the force of a runaway train. Opening my eyes, I see an athletic-looking girl with blonde hair tied into 2 pigtails and large, saucer-like eyes looking down at me. She has a very expressive face and a cute mouth turned down in a worried frown. She's wearing a PE uniform, and I notice with a start that she's missing her legs. In their place is a set of prosthetics that seem to have been designed for speed. I notice that I'm staring, and in order to avoid seeming rude... What did I even say? And in order to avoid seeming rude, I try to concentrate on her face instead. Oh, no. Hey, are you alright? Sorry about that, really. I'm fine, it's okay. I'm alright. Let me help you up. No, I'll manage. I pull myself up, feel my sore ribs, and take a deep breath. She really knocked the wind out of me. I'm really sorry about that. I wasn't looking where I was going, and you just came out of nowhere. Sorry. Are you sure you're okay? I hit you pretty hard. It's okay, I said I was fine, nothing's broken. No harm done. That's good. Sorry, I was just going to get some stuff, and I thought I thought you weren't supposed to run in the halls. She blushes and starts to fidget nervously like a little child. It's so cute, I find myself smiling unconsciously. I know, It's okay, I was just kidding. Oh, yeah, I knew that. Hey, I haven't seen you around before. Are you new or something? Yeah, you're right. I'm new. I just transferred in today. My name is Hiseo. I was just on my way to look around the school. You could tell I was new just like that? You must be pretty observant. Yeah, I sure am. I'm Emi. Ibarazaki Emi. My legs feel kind of sore. I take a tentative step forward. A look of concern flashes across Emi's face. The large crescent-shaped grin quickly turns into a frown. Oh no. I thought you said you were alright. It's nothing. No, sorry, but I can't accept that. Hey, I know, I'll show you around. Thanks, but you don't have to. Emi shakes her head decisively from side to side. Unacceptable. I owe you at least that much after knocking you over like a bunch of bowling pins. Well, that's a bit of an exaggeration. Not to mention that it would be embarrassing for me to admit being knocked over by a girl. Come on, let me show you around. It's the least I can do, right? And it'll make me feel better. Oh well, when you put it that way, how can I refuse? Okay then, let's go. She pulls me out the door of the main building, and what feels like enough force to dislocate my arm. Okay, over there is all the parking spots and the facilities, etc. The second gate is there. It's also the way to town. Just keep going in that direction and you hit civilization. Just toward a pretty large facility building surrounded by a high row of bright green hedges. Come on, over here. Come on. And over here, you can see the Guild Hall or the Great Hall. It's pretty big, right? It's for stuff like concerts and events, like an assembly hall. I don't think it's that grand or anything. It looks pretty traditional, like a traditional Japanese longhouse. Yeah, now that you mention it. And it's 2 floors too, so maybe it's not that bad, right? To the right of that are the dorms. They're pretty huge, so you should be able to see them even from here. I can see large, white buildings with shingled brown roofs forming a shape of like a big L. There are students walking back in and out the wide double doors. They look pretty cheery. One of the girls is in a wheelchair. I guess that's her friend pushing her along. That means the buildings must be disability friendly then. No surprise there, though. The gardens and the pool are over there, behind the hall. It's not full-size pool or anything, half-size. And this is the gym. Emmy gestures towards a large square building that looks half the size of the Great Hall, but seems slightly taller. The gym has everything. And over here, in this square, for whatever sporting events you want outdoors. Her eyes light up and she drags me to a massive oval running track behind the gym. Look, it's the running track, isn't it amazing? It's huge, right? It's perfect. She lets out a laugh and looks at me as if she can't believe I don't share her enthusiasm. I love the track. I spend a lot of time here. You probably knew that though, right? Suddenly her running through the halls in that PE uniform makes sense. I guess this is a good way to funnel all that energy into something. Okay, last stop. The green door. Yeah, it's right there. Do you see it? It leads off into the woods. The green door is a large, imposing fixture with a narrow path that seems vanishing into a thick, dark green forest of evergreens a few yards in. It looks interesting, but it's probably an unsafe place for people to be going freely in and out of. Despite that, I'm intrigued by the path. Maybe I'll come back later. I hear the warning bell sound, and Emmy nearly leaps 3 feet in the air upon hearing it. What bell was that? Sounds like the warning bell. What does that mean? Huh? The end of lunch? Oh, geez, that cuts our time short then. I'll give you a better tour sometime. Honestly, I don't know when lunch would end. Oh, I'm still in my uniform. How many minutes? Maybe 5 minutes? She seems a little scatterbrained, so somehow I knew she would ask that. Emmy's eyes go wide and she hurriedly looks around, looking increasingly disturbed by the growing number of kids walking around. I can't afford to be late again. Sorry, but I've got to change and everything. Not again. I'll catch you around sometime, okay? Sure, it was nice to meet you. But I'm talking to Air. She's already bolted from where she was a second ago, covering an unbelievable amount of ground. She's running so fast that there is actually a trail of dust in her wake as she yells at people to get out of her way. To be honest, I didn't learn much from her about the school I hadn't already known. I mean, there are maps of the place all over the main building, but how could I pass up a request from a cute girl? It's really time for me to get going to my next class as well, though. I wouldn't want to be late on my first day. Science class passes uneventfully. My teacher seems like an okay person, and the material is relatively interesting. The way it's taught, however, bores me to tears. I don't think I'm really learning anything other than how to regurgitate it back up on a later date. The class doesn't seem too interested in me when I'm introduced. It seems like I'm not enough of a character for them. When the bell signaling the end of the day sounds, I realize that there is still a lot of time left in the day. Free time is the most valuable part of the day. 9 out of 10 high schoolers agree that even the 10th holds only sleeping in higher esteem. I am feeling quite restless after sitting in class for hours, but I have no idea how to spend precious hours of sweet, sweet freedom. Alright, this is where I'm going to end this video. I love looking at the GRID1 edition, the really early in dev, just to see what it would have been like. I'm not even sure if this is official, but probably is. No clue. And of course, if someone from 4Leaf asks me to take down the video, I will. It's their game. I will gladly do as they wish. But anyways, this is Cheeseburger Jesus signing out. Bye-bye.